Hello, welcome to my channel. I thought I'd show you how I paint trees. Somebody once asked me, if you paint every single leaf, and no, you don't. So I thought there might be a few things I could show you in this demonstration. So here we go. I'm painting in acrylics on a 9x12 canvas, and my colors are titanium white, primary yellow, raw sienna, raw umber, French ultramarine blue. I've got hooker's green here. It could be sap green, and alizarin crimson. I'm calling this a general tree. I'm not painting any specific type of tree. I'll put a link to my background video in the description. I'm using a flat brush to start off and raw sienna, and I'm just going to sketch in the trunk and branches. And the roots too. We want the tree to stand up, don't we? And roots are kind of interesting when you see them creeping out across the ground. They make an interesting part of the painting. In the sketch, the trunk and the roots are the most interesting part because the branches will be covered in foliage, so we don't have to be too particular what we do there. Just a few strokes to indicate that branches are there. They might peep through the foliage, but I usually don't make too much of them. I find raw sienna is a good color for sketching. It's nice, neutral. It won't show in the final painting. Parts of it will glimpse through, but you won't really see the raw sienna. And I find it easy to sketch with that. You might find a different color works for you, but raw sienna works for me. I usually put my mid-tone paint all over my painting and then put in my shadow once I've decided which way the light is coming in, and then I put my highlights on last. There are occasions when I change that around, but the mid-tone always goes on first. Once you've got that mid-tone on there, you can make a decision: where is the light coming from, where is the light source, and then you know where to put your shadow and your highlight. And you better stick to that because it's what will make your painting look. I was going to say it would make your painting look real, but I'm not into realism, so I don't want to lead you astray. It will make your painting look authentic. It won't make you look at it and think, oh my gosh, there's something wrong with that painting, and the shadow's in the wrong place, the highlight's in the wrong place. So you sort of make that decision and stick to it. I've decided there's grass, so I'm putting a nice green lawn around this tree, but it could just as easily be scrubby ground, anything you want really. I've decided the light is coming from the right, so that's where I'll put my highlight, on the right side of the tree, and the shadow will be on the left. I'm mixing raw umber and alizarin crimson to give me a nice dark colour for the shadow side of my tree. I like to put several different colours on the trunk of a tree, on the branches and on the roots. It makes that area more interesting, in my opinion. And you might want to experiment with colour, because I'm sure you can do a lot with different colours. If you have a warm subject, then you're going to use cool shadows and vice versa. But my favourite for a shadow is alizarin and raw umber. For the shadow side of my foliage, I'm mixing French ultramarine blue in with the hooker's green into that puddle of colour that I have in my palette. And that makes a good shadow. And I just sort of dot it on with a round bristle brush. And that works very well for me. I've had it like 30 years, that brush. And don't throw your brushes out. You never know what you can use them for. I'm putting the shadow on in areas where I want depth, if that makes any sense. I'm not showing my palette here, but I'm using a 1/4 inch brush, and I might have added Naples yellow for a sunny highlight. I love that colour for sunshine. And you can mix it with raw sienna and primary yellow and titanium white and get a good version of it. But Naples yellow straight from the tube works really well for a highlight on trees or in shadowy areas, on grass, places like that. Actually, you can see there that I did add Naples yellow to my palette for the sunshine on the tree, the highlight. I'm mixing a highlight green from my foliage, and I use primary yellow to do that into that same pool of green along with titanium white. And that may not be the palest I go. I may make an even paler yellow or straight titanium from the tube to give me a really brilliant highlight on the foliage. You would paint individual leaves if you were closer to the subject, but this looks like a tree, doesn't it? The foliage looks real, looks like a bunch of leaves on a tree, and you don't have to paint every single one, obviously. I like to get a lot of colour in my shadow, especially on things like trunks and stems. I want to make them as interesting as possible. I use French ultramarine blue, alizarin crimson, raw umber, raw sienna, and Naples yellow. I sometimes mix an orange to give me a nice orangey highlight with primary yellow and alizarin crimson. I feel as if you can get a lot of colour in your painting, your painting becomes more interesting to the eye. I'm going to show you this mixture with primary yellow, alizarin crimson and titanium white. You can almost mix Naples yellow, you'll see, and it makes a great highlight if you don't have Naples yellow in your paints. You don't have to worry, but it makes a great highlight. Okay, so this is not strictly to do with the tree, but since I have grass there, I thought I'd show you how I make sort of scrubby, weedy ground. And I like to use a bristle fan brush, also 30 years old. Most of my bristles are. And I bought them before I realized I like painting with Taklon brushes better. But the bristles are very useful for things like this. I use it on the flat to show short grasses or scrubby ground, and I turn it on its edge to make taller weeds or shrubs, and it works very well for both of those. I'm happy with that. I think that looks like rough, scrubby, weedy ground, and it makes it interesting to look at. If you leave it blank, plain sort of green grass, it's not as interesting to the eye as scrub and weed and stony ground. I thought I'd show you how I mix greys. This tree is, could be greyer than it is now. So I mix raw umber French ultramarine blue, and titanium white, and you can get a wide range from the darkest to the palest grey. And I'm putting that on the tree, and you'll see the tree will become quite grey, and then I'll have to add my highlights again, but that's okay. You can see how I do that. Put on the good old Naples yellow, and we've got a good tree. I'm calling this a general tree. It's not an oak tree or an elm tree or any of those. It's just a good solid general tree to put in your paintings. Well, I'm calling this number 1 general tree, and that's it. I hope you like this tree. I enjoyed painting it, and I will do some other trees, a palm tree, a pine tree, both in the daytime and covered in snow on a starry night, and anything else I can think of in the way of trees, because I think they're interesting to paint. They're interesting to see in a painting. And they always add something to a painting, don't they? So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe. That helps my channel grow. And if you do a painting, share the painting with me. I want to see what you're getting up to. And thank you very much for watching. If you've already subscribed, thank you so much for that. That really is very helpful. And I'll see you next time, probably with, let me think, a pine tree. Why not? Bye for now.